I'm Marvin Jackson, and welcome again to Around the Diamond. Joining me this evening are Jimmy Williams and Alena Neves. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, are the Nats looking like a World Series team?
Well, I learned a long time ago, you're not coasting. You're not coasting until you pour in that ginger ale or
Why did I
champagne
know you would
over.
say that, Jimmy?
Cal Ripken taught me that a long time ago. You
right.
never have it. But I'm sure they're in a great position. They're in a great position, and I think they're going to be an excellent playoff team. And a World Series team, they look like one at times, and I've seen a lot of World Series teams, so I think that they could be the one that get there.
All right. Well, I visited Nats Park with our Lena Pringle, not Alena, but Lena Pringle, recently, and we spent some time with Washington Post beat writer Chelsea Janes, who shared her thoughts with us about the Nationals and Major League topics. All right, I'm here with Lena Pringle, and we are with Chelsea Janes, and she is the Washington Nationals beat reporter with the Washington Post. Talk about this job, being here with the Nationals almost all the time.
It's crazy, I think they probably get sick of me, and but it's really quite an experience. You see kind of the ins and outs and like the personalities behind everything that you see on the field, and it's an honor. It's just kind of amazing, and every once in a while I look up and like, man, this is pretty cool, but it's really special.
What was your road getting to this job?
So I started at the Post in 2013, and I was an intern, and then I covered high school sports, so running all over Virginia and Maryland, which was like the best education you could ever get. You have to keep your own stats, and you're chasing down kids on the field and writing in your car, and then got switched over to the Nationals before the 2015 season, and I've been pretty much here and up there ever since. So.
And you played a little college softball too. Where did you play that?
I played at Yale. I played sparingly, but I tried hard and I enjoyed it a lot, so it was good. Yeah.
So let's get right to it. Bryce Harper with a very impressive home run yesterday with a team that has been struggling somewhat offensively. What type of deal does that do for the team kind of moving into especially today's game?
I think it was big. They had really not even had that many chances yesterday and needed somebody to kind of take the one they got, and he was able to capitalize on it. And I think every game they get at this point is a big one because it means a game that they can sort of rest and take it easy in a week or so. And that was a huge hit for them just to kind of get that win. And like I say, every game gets them closer to clinching, which gets them closer to kind of taking a little break and being able to get fresher for the playoffs.
And what do you think that does for Bryce Harper's confidence? Because, kind of hasn't been doing a lot of big things, and kind of the team has been carrying itself. So kind of leading into today's game, how will that help him?
I think it's just good to get a big hit from Bryce. They haven't necessarily needed them this year like they did last year when it seemed like every time he came up, he got a huge hit, game tying, game winning kind of thing. But Daniel Murphy's been here, and Wilson Ramos, and he hasn't had to. But if you can get Bryce Harper thinking that he can do that again, not that he ever doubts it, but just kind of getting that swagger back into the playoffs, I think that'll be a pretty big addition for them.
Trey Turner. I mean, this guy, I remember talking to him at spring training, and he was just, so unassuming. I mean, he was just like real down to earth. But I could tell that, because he was traded early in his career, it seemed like he felt like he had something to prove. Talk about this kid.
Yeah, a lot of his teammates say he has it, whatever it is, but you know it when you see it, and he's just very comfortable. And I think you might be right, like getting traded, having to play for all these different teams really early on, you sort of have to be comfortable in yourself. And I think he, learned what he has to do to be successful, learned how to adjust at every level, and has obviously carried it into the majors. And he's, very comfortable in the clubhouse, very comfortable with all the attention, pretty honest in terms of, talking to media, talking to everyone. So just has a lot of confidence, and frankly he should after what he's done so far.
How does he compare kind of across the league with other rookies?
He's having a great year. I don't think he'll get Rookie of the Year consideration just because he hasn't been here very long. Corey Seager with the Dodgers is a shortstop having a great year. But, when you look at since he's been up, he's been one of the best rookies in baseball, if not one of the best players in baseball. So he's really done a lot for them, in a position they needed at the top of the order.
Dusty Baker, talk about his strengths. What makes him so good?
I think he's just such a great people person, and people always question every in-game move and say he uses pitchers too much or whatever, the general criticisms. But I think on a very basic level, the way he treats people is what has mattered so far this season. And just after the way last year ended, they sort of needed some life, a little, inject some energy, and Dusty is kind of perfect for that and making guys feel comfortable and appreciated. And I think that that's really what they needed, and it's paid off so far.
All right. What about you? Well, is this team going to go deep into the playoffs? That's what I want to find out from you. You're with them all the time. Is this the type of team that could go deep into the playoffs?
I want to know that too, for hotels and stuff.
Right.
But
you gotta plan yourself.
Yeah, it feels like it. And we've seen them. I know they got swept by the Cubs at Wrigley, and they have to get past the first round. But it feels like if there is a team that can maybe stand up to the Cubs, it's these guys. And they just are built well, veteran lineup that's not going to go down easily, and a pretty veteran rotation. Whether Strasburg's ready or not, they've got good arms there. Bullpen's more solid than it's ever been for them. So, I think it's sort of just cautious optimism. It's like, the Cubs are the team to beat, but if anyone can kind of match up and hang with them, I think it's these guys. And if they can get themselves in that position, I would not be surprised to see them advance further.
Let's talk about the rest. You're talking about the Cubs. Let's talk about the rest of the MLB. Any surprises so far this year for you? You've been to almost all the ballparks.
Yeah. I think what the Indians are doing is really nice. On an individual level, I think what Ian Desmond's done in Texas has been not maybe surprising, but just really nice to see, especially from people here,
Exactly.
But he's really emerged, into one of the top tier offensive players in that league. So, but I think, Cleveland's really emerged as a really strong contender despite being pretty young. And we saw them in Cleveland. They looked good, and, they might be a team these guys run into down the road. And it was.
What makes them so good?
I think their pitching's just really solid. The American League's a little weaker, in my opinion, on starters, but they match up with anybody. And I think they just are really well built and built for the long haul. And they've been intriguing to me, at least.
And we got to talk about the Orioles since they're so close.
True.
Talk about them. They got a tough road ahead because that's a tough division.
Yeah.
Toronto and Boston right there.
Yeah, and now the Yankees all of a sudden decided they wanted to play. So, yeah, they're an interesting team. They're kind of station to station, sort of, a lot of power, maybe not as, balanced as these guys. But, yeah, they've been a really interesting team and a fun matchup. And I think, I think they'll be kind of right there at the end of the AL East race, which is tight right now and should be fun to watch.
All right. And one more thing, Mark Melancon, this closer. I mean, he's 10 for 10, I think, so far here, and got 40 saves maybe so far this year. I mean, this guy's really lights out when he comes in, right?
Yeah, and he's just slid in perfectly, He's just kind of a easy personality for everyone to get along with. Quiet guy, just does what he's supposed to, knows how to, maneuver when he's tired, and he's just looked great and steady and, more kind of a calming influence in that ninth inning than they've had in a long time. And I think that just knowing that's there makes a difference for them. And we'll see what he does in October, but so far he's done exactly what they've traded for him to do, basically.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
We
having me.
appreciate you spending time with us, and we got to get you back again, right?
Yeah, I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
All right, Chelsea James, Washington Nationals beat reporter with the Washington Post. All right, some interesting conversation with Chelsea James. She's with that team all the time, on the road, at home. She's been with them since spring training, so she knows everything there is to know about the Nationals. Now, you guys, you all know a lot about them too, and what I want to know from you all, what's the best thing that happened this year to the Nationals? Is it Dusty Baker? Is it Murphy? Is it Trey Turner? Or is it Melancon?
Oh, gosh.
It's a combination of things,
Yeah.
but I like the way Espinosa really filled in that shortstop spot.
Okay.
They always say you need a strong up the middle, and then Ramos came through. So it's a multitude of things, I think, and losing the strangler and getting Melancon. and I liked him in the beginning too.
All right, Alena, we got a few seconds.
I always say that, you need a glue in the very beginning. You need the person who's the nucleus of everything that starts it out. And I have to give Dusty Baker his props on that, because I feel like he's definitely been the glue. He's been the person who's brought everyone together and really has created an environment of positive, elder-like type of energy. And no nonsense kind of, we're here to win, we're here to play, but we're also here to be comrades to each other, to really work together, team building. So I really like that. I feel like that's been huge. And then I also feel like, gosh, Daniel Murphy, how can you not? Trey Turner is great too, but he just came a little later. Daniel Murphy's been hitting.
Well, we got to take a break, and when we return, we're going to talk more baseball with Jimmy and Alena. When we return, we'll be right back.